The math proficiency test was reinstated as of February 1st, 2025.
I was so upset when I found out that the math proficiency test was being reinstated.
The goal of this podcast is to prepare Zoe.
I am like traumatized from math.
For me, it was the shock factor. It was just kind of unexpected.
Neither of us have math teachables.
Going into it, I was nervous.
You need to get a 70% or higher on the math section and a 70% or higher on the pedagogy section to pass.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that. I'm learning. I thought it was just a 70 total.
This is precisely the reason.
That's why you're here.
Let me get my notes.
Zoe, what have you been doing so far to prep? Just a quick little aside, I'm going to split this podcast into chapters so you can go to the one you want to see, but just look at the timeline to see what chapters you want to view. Let's get going. All right, hello and welcome to the first episode of season 2 of Keeping Up with the Candidates. I changed it from consecutives because we had some concurrents. Keeping Up with Candidates. Today we got a specialized episode and we got 2 guests. We're going to talk about the math proficiency test, which is big drama among teacher candidates right now. First off though, I want to introduce, we got 2 guests. Who do we got today? Start on the left.
Hi, I'm Haley.
I'm Zoe.
So I have a question. I have completed the math proficiency test. Which one of you has completed it? Which one of you have not done it yet?
I completed it last year.
And I did not. I am doing it in October.
So the goal of this podcast is to prepare Zoe.
I feel like I
for
should
what
get
you may
my
expect.
a pen and paper. I need to take
You should
notes.
you should be taking notes.
Honestly, I should.
Yeah. The main goal is to prepare Zoe for what may attack her during this math proficiency test and make her feel so welcome and comfortable. She'll be so ready. She'll be ready to do it right after this. In fact, we might have a proctor outside in case you want to
perfect.
do it right away.
Love it.
Yeah, while the information's fresh, let's do it.
I should also say before we start here, we should clarify we got no associations with Equeo or anything. We're unofficial source. Take everything we say with a grain of salt, although, however, some information is going to come right from the Equeo website. So we're not official, just so you know. We're just spitting out what we know.
Yeah. Don't
Disclaimer.
sue us.
No, it's hashtag not sponsored. Yeah. The math proficiency test, it was reinstated as of February 1st, 2025. Our cohort is one of the first to have to complete it, and there was a lot of confusion and horror when it was brought up in our classes, so I knew this had to be one of the first episodes back. Do you guys remember any confusion or horror when we heard we had to take it?
Yes.
Yeah.
To say the least, yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how nervy were you when you heard you had to take the math test?
11.
12.
11,
12 then. Because I am traumatized from math. I was so upset when I found out that the math proficiency test was being reinstated because I was fine in grade 9 and 10 math. And then as soon as grade 11 and 12 math hit, it was soul crushing. And so that's my prior experience with math. So I'm just scared.
So your prior experience with math was soul crushing. All right, Haley,
Yeah.
any better here?
I think what was shocking for me was it was just kind of a surprise from the get-go. We found out very early, kind of right away when we came and started year 1. So for me, it was the shock factor and now I have to prepare. It was just kind of unexpected.
Mm-hmm. Especially because neither of us have math teachables. It's just weird that it's something we have to do, but.
Yeah, I have a science teachable. I did medical science. Haley, what's your teachable?
Mine is English.
History and geography.
All right, so you guys sound ripe to take a math
Yeah.
exam, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. What is the math proficiency test? It's a test that the teacher candidates have to do to be fully OCT certified. There's some exemptions and all that, but I don't know too much about that, so I'm not going to get into it. And it's a test with a mathematics component and a pedagogy component. It can be performed remotely or in person at a test center like Brock, but either way, you'll be doing it online through a computer. So first question here, actually. This is a test with a mathematics component and a pedagogy component. It's called the math proficiency test. Were you guys taken off guard when did you realize right away it had a pedagogy part?
Personally, the second I heard about it, I ran to my computer and was searching things up to try to figure out what would be on this test. So I quickly did find out that pedagogy was included. For me, that was a little bit of a relief, and that it wasn't solely mathematics, just because we don't come from, or at least I don't come from, a math background. So I was actually relieved to see that there's pedagogy on it, but I definitely did my research before taking the test.
Yeah, I remember when I found out about this test, right away I got on my laptop and same thing. First thing I did was look up practice tests, and just to see if it was somewhat doable. And a lot of the questions coming up were all pedagogy. And I was like, and this was before I even started teachers college, so I didn't know what pedagogy even meant. And so when I was reading the questions, I was like, how is that any different from that? Like, what is this? Like, they better teach us this in school. But honestly, now I am relieved that there's pedagogy on it, but I don't know, some people might disagree.
Yeah.
I saw it as I have to do a math proficiency test where I'm doing math. And then I'm about to do it and I'm looking up some stuff and then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you're also getting tested on pedagogy, which, okay, we're doing a teacher program. That makes sense. We get tested on pedagogy. But then I find out for the test, you need to get a 70% or higher on the math section and a 70% or higher on the pedagogy section to pass.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that.
This is news to you?
I'm learning. I thought it was just a 70 like total.
It is 70% each part. This is precisely the reason. This is one of the exact reasons.
That's why you're here.
Let me get my
I had to
notes.
tell Zoe. Yes, and not only, I got some statistics here as well. This is from the Equeo website. Each math proficiency test contains 71 questions that count towards the applicant's score. 50 are mathematic content questions, and 21 are pedagogy questions. So therefore, you need to get more than 70% of the math questions right and 70% of the pedagogy questions right. So you have more room for error on the math part than you do on the pedagogy part.
That does make me feel a bit better, honestly. I feel like I can, like, I don't know. I feel like I need a bit of leeway with the math part.
I feel like I would have wanted more leeway with the pedagogy part because that's
Really?
kind of the new stuff, especially because I took it in first year.
Yeah.
It was like I didn't know everything right away, and especially like I don't know what kind of like the documents they have for resources, which are like Learning for All and stuff like that, Growing Success. It's like you have to study those, and I know math.
Yeah.
Just how I am, I kind of know math. I wasn't too worried about that part, but the pedagogy, that was new stuff, and I have less room for error on the pedagogy than the math. So
Did you pass it the first time?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Zoe, if you do fail, which it's all right, you can just do it again.
Exactly.
There's no penalties, not going on your permanent record
You're right.
or your criminal record, like nothing.
Yeah,
like
not
you're
even
fine.
criminal record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the test is multiple choice. It covers math content from grades 3 to 9, including some no calculator and some calculator related questions. You don't use a calculator. And then for the rest of them, you can. So let's get into the meat and potatoes here. How can we prepare Zoe for the math proficiency test, Haley? Zoe, what have you been doing so far to prep?
Okay, so I have a friend from undergrad who is in teachers college as well. She's at the Aurelia, what's that? Aurelia? Lakehead in Aurelia.
Oh, funny.
And they had a math course and their professor told them to get like EQAO books. So when she told me that, she like sent me the link to all of these like grade 6, whatever EQAO books, grade 9 EQAO books. So I bought them from Amazon and I've started the grade 6 one.
Okay.
But I'm not like doing it like thoroughly. I'm literally just like flipping through to make sure like, oh, I do remember that. Okay, I can do that next. Like I'm not necessarily doing it, but I think once it gets to the grade 8 booklet and the grade 9 booklet, I think I'll actually start doing real proper questions.
Okay.
But that's as much as I've studied so far. Literally, I did it for 2 days. Like I haven't like extensively studied. Like,
Actually,
yeah.
speaking of Lakehead, I heard there was some drama because I'm from Aurelia and lots of my friends go to Lakehead. I believe for Lakehead, you have the math proficiency test to get certified by the OCT, but to pass the Lakehead Teacher College program, there's a separate math test.
Oh.
That's why they were like trying to prepare these kids for it so well. Like they were suggesting all these books because
Wow.
it was a requirement. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, Lakehead did their own test, and now the OCT has
So
a
we
test
dodged
they have
a
to do.
bullet.
Yeah, at least it's
You
not
dodged a
us.
bullet.
Yeah.
All right, Haley, what did you do to prep?
I focused mainly on the practice test that was on the EQA website. I did go through a lot of the past EQAO math tests. The MPT goes up into grade 9.
3 to
It
9.
is 9? Okay. So I did a lot of the EQAO tests that were like administered to grade 6s and 9s to kind of get an idea of what kind of questions would be used on the MPT, just because it is administered by the same organization, obviously. So I did a lot of that, and then I really just focused on the practice tests, those tests, and then kind of looked for the commonalities between like the units that were covered and the topics, and then used that to kind of like guide my own preparation. Going into it, I was nervous, but I took it very early. thinking that if I failed, I would have ample opportunity
Same.
to kind of
Same.
redo it and make that up. So that's probably the only reason that I have it done so far ahead. But we passed, we made it out. Yes.
Yay, good job.
I was actually very grateful that in my practicum I had a grade 6, 7 class. And so kind of the stuff I forgot about, you know, I remembered fractions, but not all the multiplication, division rules. So I did my practicum and I was like, oh, I remember this stuff. It's like I was in a grade 6 class like for a month or something. It was crazy. But I found that helped me out. But the main thing I did was just the practice test that the Aqueo provides for you. And I just did that like 2 or 3 times. It doesn't change the bank too much. But doing that, like I got the type of questions that they would ask me and the pedagogy questions. So for example, if it was a definition of something, I'd go into one of the resources to find it. But yeah, I found the resources they provided for us were more than
Really good.
enough for me.
Yeah, that's what I've heard from a lot of people. Like they've been relying on those. So maybe I'll
Thankful
ditch
for
my Amazon purchase and opt for the EQA practice test.
Yeah. Refund that stuff.
I'm returning it.
Zoe, actually, this is the real test. Do you know how to book a appointment to do the test?
Yes, I do now because I just booked it recently.
How did you find that process?
So, first of all, I knew that it opened on whatever it was, September 8th. And I didn't know what time at September 8th. And I knew I wanted an online test. I didn't want to do it in person. So I was scared that there would be limited spaces for some reason. So at midnight of the 8th.
Like you're buying Taylor Swift tickets on the black
literally.
market.
We're
At
ready.
midnight on the 8th, I like stay up and I'm like refreshing the EQAO website. And it says like, oh, like math proficiency test registration is now open. But then there was like no button to click, and every time I'd like try and click the register button, not like it said unavailable. So then I was like, okay, it's fine. It's probably just lagging. So I set my alarm for 5 a.m. the next morning.
Oh my God.
I'm not messing around.
I was doing
not
way
messing
too
around.
much. I
You're
had
not
no
messing
idea. And so anyways,
Yeah.
it still wasn't open. And then once 9 a.m. rolled around, then I was able to book it. It was straightforward, but since I'm doing it online, there's a lot of I don't know, like requirements that you have to do for like your lockdown browser and just, I don't know. But it was straightforward. It was easy. Just you don't have to get up at 5 a.m. like I did.
That's,
Those of you watching.
that's wild.
Yeah,
actually.
you don't.
To book a test, it required an OCT number to like link it with your teaching like profile basically. So you had to begin your OCT application to get a number, and then you had to make a math proficiency test account. I think that you then linked the number with that, so the results would be updated automatically. It was just a whole mess right away to figure it out. But
Yeah, and you have to figure it out all on your
Yeah.
own. Like there's no one that tells you all of those steps really.
Yeah.
Like
It's a lot of trial and error.
it's almost like we should look up some like make a video resource or something for people
That
to
would
like.
be really crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Like,
would be awesome.
here's how to
would.
register for math proficiency test. Here's how to get your OCT number. Like,
I feel like the
tutorial.
scariest word this year is not even like, or segment of words, sequence of words is not the math proficiency test. It's applying for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where most of the scary things come into
Trademark
play
that.
this year at least.
Applying for anything 101.
Yeah.
That's the new YouTube channel.
So let's fast forward, day of the test. Let's pretend Zoe's doing the test today. Haley, how was your experience when you did the test? How was the day?
Yeah, I did it remote. So I was at home in my office, which I found really helped me. I think if I had to go in to an in-person session, I would be a lot more antsy than I was at home. So that definitely helped me personally. But I woke up, I tried to just have a normal day. I had an afternoon test session, so I think it was at like 2 or 3.
Yeah, mine's at 1.
Perfect.
Okay.
I took a little bit of time to review in the morning. I didn't do too much just because I know for myself personally, cramming never works. So I would not recommend that. So I didn't do that at all. I just kind of went through everything one more time and took the test like I normally would.
Did you feel good about it after? Like once you finished the test, were you like, yeah, nailed it? Or
I felt good about it. There was like a voice in my head that was like, ooh, I don't know. There were a couple questions, especially in the pedagogy, that kind of got me with the wording. So I was kind of a toss-up, and I think what also made it hard is I didn't remember what I put.
Oh,
So, like,
yeah.
I was like,
Blanked out.
yeah, and then I was
Yeah.
trying to think, like, was that a question? What did I put for that? And then I'm kind of overthinking it. But overall, I felt good. So it was more of like okay, it's done now, so wait and see.
Yeah. How long until you found out your results?
I want to say, I think I waited a week.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
not
I believe
bad.
the time they say is 7 to 10 days. For me, it was exactly 10 days, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so they don't keep you waiting for too long.
No,
Okay,
I
that's
actually
good.
got the email saying that I passed when I was in my placement. So I was in the back of the room like, yes! And they're like, what? I'm good!
Oh.
I can teach you math!
I'm proficient now.
Yeah, so that was a relief.
Yeah, on resume, proficient.
Oh, yeah.
Proficient in math.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't realize we had contrasting things there. You did it virtually online, which I guess is what Zoe's going to do. I did it in person at a test center at Brock, which is very convenient. I did it with one of my friends, Christina. And so we both walk over there. She got there way before I did, though. So she says, I'll meet you there. So she goes there. And then it's like, if you're at Brock, you know Mac Chown is very confusing. It was in the basement of like a Mac Chown. So there's like a group of people in this one room. And I'm like, oh, it's whatever it was. Maybe it was March or something. They're doing campus tours. So I'm like, oh, that must be a campus tour. So I walked around the room like 2 or 3 times. Christina didn't see me. I'm just walking around. I'm like, where is this room?
Oh my
It's
gosh.
203 and I see 202 and 205. But then I'm like, wait, it's probably with the giant group of people. And sure enough, it was.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
Mackenzie
So.
Chow, that building is so confusing. When we had our personal development there the one day,
Lost.
Yeah,
Didn't know if I was going to come out of there.
I was lost.
Yeah, came out with a Wilson volleyball.
Oh my god.
Wilson.
Was it
Alright.
nervous, like being there with other people? Like, were you nervous?
That's a good question. You should come sit in this chair, actually.
I know, sorry, I'm just
So-
so curious.
It was, when we got in there was probably like 30 or 40, 25 to 40, I'd say, in there. And so we all sat at computers. It's like, if you're at school, it's just a computer lab, computer, probably about like this much distance apart. And so the guy beside me, he blasted through that thing in like an hour, and he was gone at the hour mark. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna rush, but that was pretty fast. And maybe I'm doing something wrong here. But the majority of people, I'd say, finished around hour and a half, hour and 45, 2 hour mark. I finished about hour 35, I think, something like that. But yeah, I believe due to UDL, they give everybody 3 hours to do it. So.
Yeah, that's good.
We like that.
I'm gonna need that.
Now kind of a discussion about the test. Do you think, me and Haley, I guess, do we believe we've benefited from taking the test? What do you believe is kind of the point of it? Do you think future candidates need it?
So I taught in a grade 8 classroom, and that was my block 1 placement, which started, I think, a week right after I took this test. So I do think that having the foundational knowledge that I kind of acquired through the process of preparing for the test helped me when I taught grade 8 math that following week, starting really right away. I do think that I felt much more confident, and more so than I would have if I didn't prepare. However, when I was preparing for the test, I definitely did not think that I needed it at the time. I think like all of us, when we got the kind of news that we were going to have to do it, everybody was like, why? I don't have a math teacher. Well, I'm not going to teach math. I do think retrospectively, like, it did benefit me. So I am happy that I took it, I think.
Yeah,
It just
because
felt
we
more better.
are gonna be teaching math, and like I think I was in denial of that. Like I was like, no, I'm not gonna teach math. Like I'm that's not my teachable. Blah 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 blah. But then when I start my placement and there's math class on the board, I'm like, oh, I do have to teach math. So honestly, I do think it is beneficial in some sense. It just forces you to actually go back and look at stuff that you haven't looked at in 7 years.
Yeah.
It works a different part of your brain, because I was kind of reflecting a little bit, as we do every day in this program.
So much
And
reflection.
I realized I haven't really done math since I was in first year statistics. I haven't done math basically since grade 8. So it's kind of working a different part of my brain. Good to like get it back in the system, I guess.
And I do feel like you think you know something until you go back, especially in looking at it through a teacher's perspective now, where you're looking more curricular, and then realizing like, oh, I actually don't totally have the prior knowledge on these things, where now I do feel a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
And having that prior knowledge, I definitely feel like I'll be more confident in teaching it, because honestly, before I even started studying, and when I was like teaching math in my placement, I was even like questioning myself. I was in a grade 5 class. I know, area and perimeter. But it did like freak me out at first. I had to think like, what's the formula? Oh yeah, okay. Like, how do I do this again? And then, but it was beneficial. And then in my head, I found out different ways to teach it so that the kids understood. So like, if I had looked at it prior, I probably wouldn't have had that freak out like I did.
Yeah.
You know how you learn more things while you're doing a test? Like all of a sudden it finally clicks. You're like, oh my God, I understand everything. I felt that kind of for the pedagogy part. I was like, ooh, a couple of these are thinkers. As I said, I was kind of close to the cutoff point for the 70% there. But I was thinking, oh my God, I actually understand this now because we covered it in class like the day before. I was like, okay, I'm actually learning stuff during this test, which I didn't think would happen.
I remember like being worried about time doing the pedagogy portion. So maybe that was because it was at the beginning and I was thinking like, okay, I don't know how the rest of this test is gonna go. Maybe it was at the end. It's kind of all a blur for me now, but I do remember like psyching myself out about the pedagogy because of the wording, and also being kind of stressed about the time.
With 3 hours, I feel like that
That
covers
is a lot of time.
that covers most people's bases. So
Yeah.
yeah. How did you feel afterwards? Did you celebrate?
I was happy. Like I said, I was overthinking initially right after the test. I did that for a few days, and then after I got the email, I was stoked. My grade 8s were happy too.
Awesome.
I just want that feeling.
It's not often in this program we do a test.
No.
And then you get a test mark back.
No, exactly.
We had one outlier in a giant 40% test that came out of nowhere,
Yeah.
but other than that,
Oh, you mean like the exam quiz?
exam quiz, yes.
That was crazy.
Like Brock themselves, they sent us a bunch of resources. I think they're still sending a whole bunch of resources because a lot of people are probably panicked about this, but through your email, they're sending us a bunch of stuff. You can go on the Math Proficiency Test website and get a bunch of stuff. There's a practice test, there's what you need to know, all the resources that they're going to test you on, and they set you up pretty good.
If you didn't know, you do get a cheat sheet. Like they provide it for you, right? Yeah.
Oh,
For some
With a
formula.
by
formula
cheat sheet,
sheet.
by
A
cheat sheet you mean
Formula
formula
sheet.
sheet.
Not a cheat sheet.
Formula
oh,
sheet.
Formula.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Well, in my opinion, that's a cheat sheet.
Formula sheet.
Formula
With
sheet.
formulas on it. And a calculator that's built into the thingy-majig,
Yeah.
so. All right, so the format of the test, we had a question about that. Question types are mathematics with no calculator, mathematics with a calculator, pedagogy, and then a field test, which I think is just some random questions at the end. So mathematics, no calculator, about 5 questions. Mathematics calculator, 45 questions. Pedagogy, 21. And then the field test, which is some random stuff, is 4 questions. So total of 75.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
With a formula sheet. That's not
With
terrible.
a formula sheet
Not
and
bad.
a calculator. I believe there's also text-to-speech and stuff like that for accommodations as well.
Oh.
Yeah. So I guess kind of the last question here. Do you think teacher candidates need this test? We kind of touched on it a little bit. People that want to be a doctor have to do the MCAT. People that want to do dentistry have to maybe also do the MCAT, I forget. But a lot of people got to do a lot of tests to get your professional job. Do you think it's fair that we have to do a math proficiency test?
I think math teachers should also do a literacy and language proficiency test if we have to do a math proficiency test.
That's a good point.
I
Like
agree.
OSSLT?
Yeah, literally.
I agree. No,
Yeah,
I think-
because I think it's a little bit
Yeah.
unfair, but at the same time, I do see the benefits. But I think there should, for all the math kids, they should do a written English test.
Well,
then.
that's fair. The big two in school are language and math. So.
Exactly.
That's actually exactly what I was gonna say. Like I think, seeing the benefits of the MPT in practical context, it's very evident that there are advantages to doing it. I do think that in the same stream, having teacher candidates do some kind of English proficiency test that includes literacy of some kind would be an asset as well.
Yeah.
I don't think it could hurt necessarily.
Yeah.
Why not, right?
We're already
So-
doing tests.
Yeah.
Why not just
Throw
do
in
that?
another one.
Why not do another one? And then
Yeah.
let's do a geography one, and we'll do the
We'll do
beep
it all.
test. We'll do
Yeah.
the
Oh,
beep test
yeah.
too, and then we'll do GeoGuessr for geography,
Oh my
Oh, I'm
gosh.
failing.
then
GeoGuessr
an
on
art
that.
project or something like that. I don't know. Music.
Every test.
Let's do every test.
Do all the tests.
But yeah, that was a good point with the language one.
Yeah.
So, is there any additional information, Zoe, you feel you need from me or Haley?
Honestly, I feel like I understand the test a bit better now, and I feel prepared.
We got it.
Thank you guys.
This is a big deal.
Yeah.
And now,
I will update you with my results, or
Okay.
I
perfect.
won't. Or I
We'll
won't.
never hear
To
from
be
her
determined.
again, or we will celebrate.
You can
One of the two.
determine my result in your mind.
Okay.
Update, I passed, so take our advice.
I think you're gonna do fine. I think if you practice, use these resources, you'll do fine. If you watch this podcast, you'll probably do slightly more fine than the average person who doesn't watch it. So yeah, speaking of which, comment if you got any questions about it. And that's about it. Thank you guys for joining. And I think me and Haley have supported Zoe so much. She's gonna do awesome. So
I feel great. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
All right, no problem. All right, that's about it. See you guys next time. Say goodbye.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.
No problem.
Good luck on your test.
Shout out to Zoe's mom who might watch this.
Yeah, she will. Hi, Mom.